Thank you so much for attending this event. So good morning for many of you, and I can see some good afternoons and actually some good evenings. So welcome everyone to the Verified Visitors event. So we've got a great and interesting event today. What we're going to be showing you is how Verified Visitors works against bots as a service platform. So the bots as a service, they can provide either AI-based capture, which looks up the images, uses reverse image search, and exactly the AI image servers to go and then look up the labeled data and say, oh, actually, this is the image and it's labeled as a motorbike. But also they use capture farms, so real humans just to sit there and serve those. So people are, oh, well, I've got capture, I'm all set, I'm all done, I've got, my WAF, I've got my IP reputation, I'm done as much as I can. Absolutely wrong. If you're doing that, the bots, and especially these customized bots we're going to show you, can absolutely hit your website pretty much at will, and we'll show you exactly what that looks like now. So that's the overall landscape, and what we're going to show you is the easy stuff is at the bottom. The really difficult stuff is what is human-like at the top right, that hides its origin, that looks as human, that passes capture, and we're going to show you basically live, how we can stop some of the most really extreme bot attacks out there. So who are we in terms of Verified Visitors, the platform, and what does it look like? We're an AI platform, so we sit on the cloud. We're zero code. So we do integrations with at the CDN level. And so you're getting your DDoS services from AWS, from Cloudflare, Google Cloud, and we sit basically at that level, and we then have a service worker or an API integration depending on the platform. So the nice thing is there's just nothing to install. It's a key-based integration, and you can be up and running. Because we work at the CDN level, everything is on our servers, and we optimize, for latency to be as quick as possible. And we'll show you that in as we go through the demo. So that's basically the platform and what that looks like. So and obviously being in the cloud gives us massive advantage. It means that the bots do not hit your site. We can pick them up at the CDN level before they are actually allowed to cause any harm. And that's basically, if you're using anything on the server side, or any traditional kind of WordPress or plugins or anything like that, it's obviously too late at that stage. So you've really got to be in the cloud. And the way we work is we have a virtual ID based on the fingerprint of that visitor, and we do classical AI-based cohort analysis. So we divide up each of the incoming visitors by risk with a whole bunch of factors. I mean, there's literally hundreds of factors that we look at, and we provide the dynamic risk mapping of your visitors according to the threat. And this allows us really to have all sorts of benefits that we'll show you. So you can, the benefit, or the chief benefit of the cohort analysis, is that we've got the ability to break all your traffic down into the associated segments. So you can see here that this is the actual management interface inside Verified Visitors. And you can see basically what we have there is on the top left in red, we've got all of the high risk traffic. When I say high risk, what do I mean? Well, I'll show you a breakdown. It's basically account takeover. So it's traffic that's definitely automated, that's hitting risky paths, such as shopping carts, such as login paths, such as any kind of critical vulnerabilities, server config, any of the paths that you'd like to protect. And we're then breaking down by risk all the rest of the other traffic into each of its constituent parts. So you can see that when we do the analysis, what's really comes out is that over 50% of all of the internet traffic is actually bot traffic. So you can see here, we've got the red line here for and so this is all the bot traffic. So, and most people are not managing it, right? They may have a robots.txt file, they may have some IP reputation, and they may have some signature-based fingerprinting that stops a lot of the good bots, but a lot of the bad bots. But what they don't do is have a comprehensive strategy of managing the good bots and also the high-risk traffic that's customized, that's written specifically for your site to evade the detection. So what we do is we've got basically the verified visitors that we actually care about. We know who they are, we can see the repeat visits and understand them. And we've got the ability then to really focus on the actual customer traffic that you want. And we segment that into obviously new visits and repeat visits. And this really allows you to focus on the actual verified visitors and your customers that you care about. And this is really, critical, because many of, people that you've seen, and you can see this when you're browsing websites, they are basically punishing all of the visitors in the same way. So now when we apply the managed risk model at the top and we apply verified visitors, we'll show you exactly how this works. What you've got there is the good bots and the block bots are all managed, right? We can forget about them. All you really care about is your visitors, your repeat visits and your new visits. Now, there will be some likely automated. You can see a little stretch of gray. That's where it is our gray area. This isn't 100% perfect. But over time, the machine learning actually learns from your traffic. And that's a critical point, because all the IP reputation signature base, I mean, it's learning from everyone else's bots, right? It's not learning from what's happening on your website. Now, the attack that we are going to show you today is particularly pernicious, because what it does is it targets precisely the new visitor area. And why does it do that? Well, because the bots as a service guys, they know full well that signature-based services, they need to have a signature, don't they? So you can see there between the two little red lines that this is the cohort we're looking at. And if you've never seen that before, you have no clue as to the behavior, right? So we've got no behavioral clues. We haven't seen it before. We've got no signature. We've got no IP. We've got basically nothing that can determine now, what that new visitor is and what it looks like. And so what we're now going to look at is basically how we can defend against an attack that's been set up with a customized script with fresh IPs each and every time as a first-time visitor, and how basically we go about mitigating that. So this is amongst the hardest attack types. As you can see, we put the rules in and we can deal with all of the other visitor types. And this is why, we've actually made this into the challenge that it is. But how do people now, respond to this? Because, well, what they do is, instead of looking at and saying, well, let's split it up, let's do the cohort analysis according to the risk, what they're doing is just smashing the customers. So we've all seen, oh yeah, well, capture isn't working. We've seen how capture farms can solve it and are doing that on a biblically large scale. We see how AI itself can solve it. So they're coming up with more and more crazy schemes to make solving a capture, a more and more challenging thing for humans. It's just completely the wrong approach. And also, I think we've all seen, when browsing, you get millions of captures. The challenge page is integrated in, so they're basically punishing all of the users. And one of the reasons for that is because it's such a difficult problem to solve, but the tooling in terms of really isn't there. And if you've just got basically one big hammer, your customer inevitably becomes the nail. And I think we've all, every single day, I mean, I use proxies, I get blocked kind of all of the time. And if you're using a Linux machine and something that isn't standard, and you're using any different config, that you'll know and appreciate just how frustrating this is. So now we're going to go basically into the demo, and what we can see here basically is we're going to show you how we start to hit the bots as a service providers. So the one, as John was saying, it's actually an Israeli company. It's called Bright Data. We looked at about 10 of these. We could have chosen, frankly, any one. The reason we did this, really, because we love the fact that it boasts of a 99.99% success rate. This is also, it's a serious platform that they've obviously spent some, serious time architecting. And what this platform does, you put in your credit card, and they claim to be able to unlock scraping, all of the toughest sites. Now, this isn't just about scraping. I mean, you can use this for any bot. So you can use it, as John was saying, for account takeover, any of these different things. But they specifically claim to reverse engineer the browser fingerprinting, the capture solving, as we talked about, and they will try multiple IPs. So they've got a database of literally millions of IPs, and intercept the JavaScript. So how does this work? Well, it's a SaaS platform, and essentially, like any SaaS, you pay, you set up your credit card. And what you'll see basically is that inside the actual SaaS service, that you can choose basically from a whole menu of services. So what we've got here is, you can see that you can choose your proxy types. Now, this is absolutely critical because the IP reputational is looking for data centers, it's looking for bad IPs. This is using residential proxies. You can see here there's a mobile proxy that's using real machines, real mobiles. So that will pass a fingerprint. It's also using a mobile gateway, right? So you can't block its ASN. You cannot, otherwise you'd be blocking, an entire mobile gateway with, potentially millions of users. And so what you can do here is you can choose the service kind of level that you like, and then we go on to the scripts now. So on the hardware side, you'll just simply select and for now, I think what we've done is we've chosen one of the residential IPs. So they claim to have got a data set of a few million in there. So no amount of blocking, it's really is not going to help you, and no amount of IP reputation is going to do anything. Now, when we go into the scripts, then but the thing there is that this site has got scripts for, like, custom scripts for some of the most well-known sites basically in the world. So you can see it's got an entire database with the different categories here. So you've got everything, from Amazon, Sephora, I mean, like literally hundreds and this, for the IT community, has to be completely terrifying. So airmaze.com, you name it, it's basically in there. So what we're now going to show you is obviously in terms of the you can take one of these, you can literally go and buy it and plug it in for the attack of your choice. Now, for Verified Visitors, we are going to be showing you hitting our own kind of marketing website, and what we'll in order to do that, we're going to show you this live. And on the left-hand side, you can see basically we've got the actual script itself. So this is a template that we've tweaked, and on the right-hand side, you can see Verified Visitors. This is our old marketing site. It's not our live site. We're just hitting that. So, and what we've got there, as you can see, Verified Visitors is running just fine. Victor's just pinged that because we specifically allowed our existing customers, right? So you can see we're hitting there with no problems whatsoever. And then what we're now going to go and show you is we're going to go finally into the Verified Visitors portal. And and then what we're going to do is show you how we can set that portal up, then to configure the portal there to defend against basically the attack. So I've shown you now what you've seen on is the whole risk profile. So what we'd set up is a risk profile, and this is for new visitors. And so what we're going to set is a couple of rules here. So we've got one rule that will basically, for new visitors, so just that cohort, we've never seen it before. What we'll do, we issue a challenge that happens basically behind the scenes for us to interrogate that client and probe it and find out, what it is. And if we're not happy with that, then we actually block that. So let's just see what we can do now is, we can just show the unblock stage of us hitting Verified Visitors in a normal way, and then we can basically then apply the the two rules, and we'll show you essentially what that looks like. So we're going to apply the rule and then go back into our platform, and then this is Bright Data again, and then we're going to basically run the actual bot script. Now, when the bot script runs, this isn't our service. This is actually a SaaS-based platform, so it will take some time to load in the proxies, load in the bots, and then go in and power basically all of those. And you can see here, yeah, fine. We can basically now see verified visitors. So let's now turn on our protection. So Victor's now going to turn the protection on, and what we're going to do now is then re-kick off the script. Again, the timing of that is it does take a little while to actually go through. What that's doing is it's going into Bright Data. It's then loading all of the different proxies up, and what you can see basically now is that that script is loading, and it's then going to try and attempt now to load the website. So you can see basically it tried in exactly the same way. So with the protection now turned on, we have detected it, and basically what we've managed to do here is to then block that. Now, the really great thing is that we've seen it from the attacker's point of view, but from the normal customer, you would not see anything at all, right? So the site is still, functioning. Your verified visitors are absolutely happy. We've got rid of the malicious bots, the obvious bots, but also we've dealt, in an extremely efficient way with the bots that are the first-time visitors that are, incredibly difficult to detect in any other way. And we've done that to inconvenience the bots, right? So now, if you are a legitimate user and you go in for the first time and we haven't seen you, then yes, there might be a slight delay, but you've seen how quick it was, and obviously, it takes us really a couple of seconds to do the analysis and to give the yes or no to allow basically that bot in, or to actually prevent it. So that's basically how it works. And what I'm showing you, now was really just a basic kind of scraping bot, but don't be kind of under any illusions. This could have been an account takeover attack. This could have been, programmed to create, a data breach. It could have done many things that are, obviously much more malicious than, simply, scraping some of the data here. So thanks for that, Victor. That was awesome to get that demo. So what I'd like to do now is to open this up to some questions, and then maybe John, I'd love to get your kind of take on that, and then we can kick off some questions.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you first. I mean, you've given us a demo of this bots as a service, this particular bots as a service platform, but how many of these are out there, and who do you think is using them?
Yeah, well, it's a good question, and look, when we did an investigation, we found at least 10 major platforms, but there are many more than that, and yeah, I mean the thing is it depends again on that use case, but for scraping, a lot of it is competitive price scraping, and that's I think probably the bulk of what we're seeing. But what's happening there? Well, people think, well, price scraping. Well, how they've almost given up stopping it. But what damage can it do? Well, the problem is that it's a winner takes all marketplace. So if you've got a consumer good that is temporarily cheaper, you can basically swing the advertising to promote that offer and dynamically update the pricing models by using these scraping, biblically large, scraping from APIs and putting, this is so evolved that they're scraping every single zip code for the pricing, for the shipping, being incredibly uber competitive, and then using social media to promote those offers dynamically. So it's creating price erosion. It's the server performance, and if your competitors got absolutely fine granular detail on every 5 minutes of your entire stock, then if you're an airline, for example, I mean, how many times have you seen the best price? Because consumers literally will buy that the cheapest airline ticket. So you have this whole crazy massive ecosystem working that's frustrating for the end user, as well as basically all the participants. And the legal doesn't work. I mean, I saw actually Ryanair had just started suing some of the major scraping services, and that's going nowhere. But one of those things is you can stop it completely dead by using techniques such as I've shown you. So but the other side of it is, I mean, this is data. We are extracting data, right? And we've shown you very simple when we can extract prices. If you do account takeovers, you can extract customer data, credit cards, address information, you name it, and it becomes a whole level, of that is much more dangerous. And that is commoditized, in all sorts of ways. They use the data to create, identity theft, and that's the main one, by creating what they call fools, which are sets of full accounts that then can be used, and with all of your data, credit card information, your address, your social security, I mean, you name it, and then they do fake applications, account takeovers of other sites, and so it goes on.
Yeah, I was going to ask another question, was really about what you think are the limitation of today's sort of traditional defenses such as WAFs, and whether, what role, if any, you think service providers can play. Are these defenses really just not going to stop this sort of state-of-the-art bot?
Well, I think the crucial thing is if it's customized for if it's a customized attack, right? Because many years ago, we see the same attacks all over and over and over and over again, and you still do. It's the bulk of the traffic, so it's the bulk of the problem. And Cloudflare, for example, does a fantastic job. It's seeing those attacks so many times, it can genuinely clean those up. But the service providers, you are in that area of you are providing a conduit for that traffic, and so you can't be too forceful in what you're blocking. But it's these new customized attacks that they are programmed to hit your site, right? So the service providers, they're not going to be able to pick that up, first of all, and they it's not their duty of care to stop it, because you know, how can they? It's disguised as a legitimate human attack. I mean, if they start blocking legitimate humans to your website, you know, people would start getting extremely angry. So that's how the kind of the fraudsters are able to tread this incredibly fine line between what's legal and what isn't. And so I'm afraid, you know, I mean, the service providers, you know, there's never going to be a solution to this that's, you know, definitive. And that's why, you know, you need, you know, a solution like Verified Visitors to actually take that control, you know, yourselves and just stop the bots dead in their tracks. And that effectively will stop it, because then you've killed the financial incentive. If they can't hit you, if they can't hurt you, they go on to someone else. And that's one of the critical points is, you know, we don't actually have to be perfect here. We just have to be better than, you know, your competitors. And it's just exactly the same as, you know, if you've ever had a security check and the police have come around and looked at your property, and you know, they'll tell you that, you know, if you have the lights, the dog, you know, the burglar alarm, you know, the enhanced security, the door cam, you know, then they are going to go elsewhere, and they're going to hit the people that haven't got the good protection. Why? Because, you know, life's short. Let's just find the easiest way of being, you know, that getting through and attacking. So, I mean, my strong advice is you know, do not be that victim. And although, you know, people are looking at it and saying, well, it's a fairly simple scraping attack. Once you're scraped, that means that the bots can attack you. So it leads to other things, right? It won't just stop with that simple scraping.
Yeah, I mean, one sort of final general point was, I mean, I alluded to this when I was talking about bots earlier, but what effect, if any, do you think AI is going to have on, you know, the sophistication of bots, or their ability to beat, you know, defenses such as captures? Because we do, you know, we hear a lot about AI is going to transform cybercrime on every level. I mean, do you think that's a bit exaggerated, or do you think that the, you know, do you think that that's something that we should worry about?
Well, yeah, I think a couple of things. You know, AI absolutely is being used today, and I mean, we started tracking this like 5, 6 years ago, at least. So one of the big areas is that what we saw is people were bypassing the image capture and going to the audio capture. Why? Because do you remember when, you know, voice recognition and services like Siri really began to explode? The voice recognition was a lot better. So you could use the accessibility bypass on an image for, you know, people who were, you know, don't have perfect eyesight, and go to the audio. And guess what? You could plug it into, you know, Google Audio, Amazon's, you know, basically voice recognition, which is incredibly good, and you'd pass every single time. And so it's the same with images. And unbelievably, what they're doing is, well, not unbelievably, but they're using the AI that we've all spent all of this time labeling. So, you know, when you're doing your crazy captures of you know, walkways and roofs and chimneys and all of this stuff, you're training Google Images on basically how to look and observe and label basically images. And after billions and billions of trainings, it's now incredibly powerful. So what are the hackers doing? Well, you know, you get the capture, they're reverse imaging, searching the capture, they're looking at the original image, which is often higher quality, much easier to distinguish, and also labeled, right? So they are passing the image capture, which is it's just crazy, because, you know, the same AI kind of technology is being used to actually to bypass it. So that's happening in captures, you know, for quite a while. What we're not seeing is whole scale use of AI on the behavioral side yet. Thank God. But what is happening is the active GPT scripts now. You can use them to go and scrape, for example, right? So that is a major area. Is the generative AI is enabling just thousands, millions of attacks that weren't possible before. And it started off fairly kind of innocently, but people right now they're using, for example, they get an emailing list, but they want to make sure it's up to date. So they'd use ChatGPT to go out and basically clean all of those sources up. And but if you can use the ChatGPT, it can actually program the bots into basically a bot army that is very sophisticated and passes capture. Then I mean, you've seen the rapid pace of it. So I'm absolutely sure that you will see a whole new generation of basically really smart bots that can evade the capture, that are basically going to be used. And I don't I mean, it's not, should you be frightened of that or afraid? Well, I think no. I think you should be aware of it as something that is coming up, I think, much quicker than people think. Very few people spotted the whole generative idea kind of wave, but how quickly has that evolved? I mean, that's really just in the past a couple of years, and I can see the bots, they always do, riding on top of that and using that, and I can see this being the predominant form of bot attack actually relatively quickly.
Yeah, and your verified visitors uses AI, and I suppose one of the implications of that, I would argue, is that you really need to defeat or to defend yourself against the best bots as a service platforms. You probably need the AI technology on your side to do that. I mean, would you? I guess you would agree with that, because that's what you.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why we do that is because it's so incredibly efficient and fantastic at this multivariate analysis. And the challenges we've had is how to do that as quickly as possible, without incurring latency, and to do that in a real-time streaming environment. It's incredibly technically challenging, but in our view, I mean, it is the only way. And because we've designed verified visitors absolutely from the ground up. And yeah, we do use heuristics, whenever we can, because they're incredibly effective. But it is this multivariant threat risk that is, if you haven't got that architecture, and I know, because it's incredibly difficult to do. Most people are just signature based, IP based, all of the WAFs, the fingerprinting. It's not going to help you on this type of attack. So that's why for us, I mean, we've deliberately, we've known where the tech is heading, but for us, we want to be absolutely ahead of this curve, and understanding what these attacks look like from the very beginning, because we've known fundamentally it is going to be our AI versus their AI. This is the battle, not of the bots, of the humans. It's the battle, of our AI versus their AI. And the one, major advantage that we've got is that, we are learning from your traffic, right? So the traffic patterns that you've got are absolutely unique to, your website. And unless you've got access and you can hack your web logs, you're not going to be able to understand that. And that is a unique fingerprint. It's a unique pattern that we can learn from, and is incredibly valuable at doing that cohort analysis that I showed you. So, for God's sake, let's not inconvenience, all of our customers because, these types of malicious bot attacks, they're a relatively small proportion of the overall. I mean, even though 50% of the bot attacks or the bots are, the internet is 50% made up of bots, these malicious attacks are, it's still a 1%. And so if we stop those, the 99% of legitimate users, you don't have to do these terrible captures. You don't have to do, re-authentications, because we know who you are. You're a repeat customer. And if we treat our customers, as the valued humans, that they really are, then it makes an absolute fundamental difference to every single metric that you're trying to do in terms of your visitors, your relations, your repeat visits. And that's why we call the business verified visitors, because that's who we care about at the end of the day, is supporting your customers and making it as easy and as seamless to apply as we possibly can. And because it uses the AI, you don't have to, you set up those core rules, they adapt according to the risk. So you don't have to change them. You're not putting in IP ranges or anything static. This is set up, and the more you help us learning the paths and the critical vulnerabilities, areas that you want to protect, the better, the more labels the AI has to go and then defend you. So for me, absolutely. I mean, this is completely the future, and the reason I'm saying do not worry is that it's like anything else. You've got a completely inbuilt advantage by having, knowing your own domain, knowing your own customers. And that's fundamentally what will make the difference. Is, we've got to concentrate on those verified visitors and make sure their experience is just fantastic, and not basically destroy that for this this terrible 1%. So great. I think we're on the hour now. So I'd just like to thank everyone, so much, and thanks again to John and Victor, and wish you all a great rest of your day. So thanks, everyone.